On today's episode, guys, we'll hear from a man who wears many hats, Joe Evans. He's a father. He's over juvenile justice. He's a school board trustee. He's the president of the Republican chair. And he does so many more things throughout the community. I can't wait for you guys to hear him. He's gonna drop some gems. We're gonna get his perspective, and we're gonna hear why he thinks that we shouldn't give up on the system. Let's go.
He told me, AJ, you either gonna be a politician or a pastor because you have a gift.
The sky's the limit, the sky's the limit. So fly, we do all this for them generations that come right after us. He tryna make a way, he made a way, and I got so much proof to show for it. The sky's the limit, the sky's the limit. Whoa.
I didn't choose politics, politics chose me.
So, tell me, who is Joe Evans?
Well, you know, I always start with being a father. You know, I have 3 girls, and they're all grown now, you know, 18, 19, and 21, but still my baby, so, you know, I'm a dad. And then beyond that, my role expands to be, you know, a father to many children in the community who are, you know, lacking a father figure or a positive male role model. School board trustee, and, you know, just a community activist. You know, I'm the chairman of the Republican Party.
Okay.
And I mean, those are titles, but for me, I'm just a community guy, man. I just love people, and I want to see our community thrive and grow, and I'm really passionate about education and juvenile justice.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Evans, one thing that kind of caught my attention by what you just said, those are titles. A lot of people get in the office and they let that title go to your head, and they forgot the people put you in that position where you even had that title. So, you know, how do you speak to, you know, just the humbleness to not let those titles go there?
Yeah, man, you know, if I could have looked back over my childhood and said, I'm gonna have all these titles, director, whatever, chairman, trustee, I would have probably been like, there's no way that's gonna happen. But now that I have them, it's like, I don't even think about it. I'm just like a lot of people refer to me as Mr. Joe. Just Mr. Joe. That's it. You know, like, cause I don't ever want that to be what I lead with. Cause people, it takes some of your realness off. Cause people, you know, oh, that's Mr. Evans, or that's Trustee Evans. I'm like, nah, I'm just Mr. Joe. You know, and let's chop it up. Let's talk about some things that make us all human beyond these titles, because the titles come and go, but you know who you are as a person, that's what lives forever.
Yeah, let's shoot it straight. And that's one thing that, you know, a lot of people I have learned in the community, they respect about people who are elected officials, but they care way beyond their title. So,
well, just like you,
respect.
Like you 150,000% city councilman AJ Turner. But I don't care if it's kids, adults, AJ.
Yep.
And that's what make you real and make people know they can reach out and touch you.
Yep, and I think people respect us more when we are real, when we can have this dialogue, where people can get to know us more and more. But I think it's pretty dope, and I'm ready for this interview because I want people to learn more about Joe Evans, all right?
Yeah, for sure.
So what is your vision for improving education in Beaumont, and what specific change do you hope to see in the coming years?
Man, I want Beaumont to truly set the standard. You know, I said it when I got on the school board that, you know, when you mentioned the big time ISDs across the state that really set the standard as far as academic performance, I want us to be mentioned with those names and you know, lead from an academic standpoint. I want Beaumont to be known as an academic hub. You know, I want us to make sure that we're putting the most kids in universities across the state. I want to make sure that the workforce is dominated by our students. And I just wanted to be known that the new academia starts right here in Beaumont, Texas, and that's my vision for Beaumont. I want people to say, man, you know, one thing about Beaumont, they got, you know, quality education, highly educated people, because I looked at stories that say we was like some of the dumbest people, and I'm like, I can't get behind that not when Boomtown started here, you know, not when we brought up the oil and gas industry from
one of the biggest in the world.
You know, so I refuse to believe that the engineers that we have right here in this city cannot be what we are known for when you look at us across the country and ultimately across the world.
Yeah, I think narrative is a big thing. One thing I challenge people in Beaumont all the time, how you gonna let somebody write an article about our community who don't even live here, who visited for a day or two, and they put this narrative out there and we ride with it? No. we not gonna let nobody come in our hometown, put a narrative on us and define us as that.
Exactly.
Yeah, because we live here.
We live
know our
here.
community.
This is ours,
Yeah.
you know. This is where we raise our children, and you know, this is everything to us. You know,
Yeah.
work, sleep, home, play. You know, so that's the way I want to make sure that people know that, you know, when it comes to me, my vision is bold for education, and I want us to set the standard. And I appreciate you for, you know, being a part of that too, because before I got on the school board, I was kind of weary as to, you know, what direction I wanted to go. So I appreciate your encouragement in that aspect, and it's been good ever since.
Oh yeah, man, it's all about partnerships, man. I feel like all elected officials, the GMs was the people. They put us on the team. It's our job to work together and get it done, man. Like,
that's right.
So what are some of your biggest challenges you faced in your role on the BISD board, and how do you approach finding solutions?
So people think that because you're on the board, you can automatically make decisions unilaterally. And me alone, I cannot make changes, especially policy changes, and that trickles down to HR or facilities. I can't make those changes on my own. And that's frustrating to a lot of people because they don't necessarily buy it. Oh, you're on the school board, you can do something.
Yeah.
And in some cases you can, because your influence, you know, precedes you. So people don't want to, you know, say, because I'm never going in heavy-handed with a situation. I'm going, superintendent, you need to do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, hey, Doc, is there something we can do to do X, Y, and Z to try to appease these people and try to smooth things over at least until we can find a better solution? And for her to be my employee, of course, and I'm one of her bosses, she's gonna, of course, in her mind say, you know, I don't want him coming to me too many more times about this. But that's something that I had to learn too, that you have to work within those frameworks to build those relationships. And it's a difficult concept to get the community to understand. Like, I know you think what you're saying is like so important, and it is, and it's important to you and it's important to me, but, you know, for lack of better terms, is it the hill we want to die on? Because if there's a solution that you and I can come to before we take this to the board, or before I take it to the superintendent, or before I try to use my influence, maybe this is not where our resources are best used, and it's not our, you know, our time's not best used doing these certain things. So you want to be solutions oriented. You want to sit down and listen to people. You probably can attest to this. Sometimes people just want to be heard. Yeah. And they may stop you at that grocery store and hit you for about 30, 45 minutes. And you know you in a rush.
That's why my wife don't go with me no more to the store.
Yeah, because you can't. Yeah. She be like, I'm trying to go home and cook. You playing. You know, but it's like you listening to these people and then they walk away with this sense of, at least I've been heard. I know I can once again reach out and touch my city councilman, because we're not in Dallas. We're not in Houston. We live in a community that's...
Everybody know everybody.
Yeah, everybody know everybody. You know, it's close-knit. And so, you know, but people want to be heard, and ultimately when they're heard, they at least feel better, and then their wheels start turning, because now you challenge them. What can you do a little bit differently? You know, let's just a small change until we can figure out a different solution. So, you know.
I think it's important that we utilize this platform to educate people on these systems and how they work.
Yes.
I think similar to city council, you guys have a 7-board member, right?
Very similar. I mean, it's really the same. You know, like your city manager is the equivalent to our superintendent.
Dr. Allen, yes.
You got to be able to count.
She runs day-to-day operations.
She runs day-to-day.
A lot of people misconstrue that. The superintendent as well as the city manager, they run day-to-day operations. They hire the employees.
Right.
They can fire the employees. We can't come in and fire a principal because we don't like the principal.
Exactly.
It has to go through the superintendent.
Yes.
And I like this platform because I want you to kind of dive in on that. How many people it takes to get something done? How does it work? How can you even get something on the agenda to address it? Yeah.
So from top of local government to bottom, and top meaning like the commissioners, then city council, and then of course the school board, you have to count to 4.
Yep.
You know, so me and my bright idea means nothing if I can't get 3 others to say, Joe, that's a pretty good idea.
Yep.
And then the superintendent has to enact that policy that we put in place. But you know, the superintendent is our only employee. Like you said, I can't fire a teacher. I can't fire a principal, a custodian, a cafeteria worker. I can't fire the superintendent by myself.
Because how many other people you needed
I
if
need
you
3
did?
more to come with me.
And not saying you want to, but it's just an
definitely
example.
Don't want to. I want to go on record and
But
say
we
that.
want to make sure we understand.
Right, yeah.
We didn't say that. You know how people
Right.
can twist stuff, but
Right,
you're just saying in order to do it, yeah, it takes
And so
4.
And so people will come down hard on the superintendent or city manager. I see it all the time. But what they don't understand is that city manager or that superintendent is sandwiched between 2 things. Their entire staff, meaning from management down to the lowest man on the totem pole, and then 7 bosses
7 different personalities.
that all think they got the brightest idea.
And most elected officials, them egos, they
Something
ain't
wrong
that
with
small.
us. Even you and I being humble. Something wrong
If
with
you'll
us.
keep
'cause
it
in our
G,
mind,
you know, like, yeah.
Because in our mind, we think we got a solution. And that's okay. You need visionaries, you know. You need
do.
visionaries.
You do.
But yeah, so that's that dynamic that's very similar. And the same thing with the commissioner's court, which is a little bit different because the county judge is the chief executive, but still, he can't just go stroll in and say, I want to make this happen tomorrow.
He need majority.
You need majority. So you need buy-in, you need rapport, you need relationships. You need to say, when I'm really, really upset with this person because that's just boneheaded, that's not a hill I want to die on. And then after the meeting, you outside in the parking lot, you chop it up. How your family doing?
Yep.
Everybody good?
You go in there and handle your
tell you, man, I
business.
was really mad at you just
go in there
now.
and handle your bit. But see,
But
that's
you
what
know.
a lot of people don't see. Like, we can get on that dais and disagree. But it's 365 days. One of those days out of 365, you
Right.
still got 364 more days to go out there and get it to make this community better.
And look what we
Yeah.
agreed on. And there's one thing gonna hang us up? No, not even a chance.
I mean, I think that's a lot of immaturity too. You know, I mean, I get it, stand on your morals, principles, and values, but also understand the democratic system. The people put us in place,
Right.
and these are the rules that are in place.
Yes.
You're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some. But if you're good, you'll win a lot.
That's what it's about, you know, you're winning more than you lose, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you emphasized on collaboration between BISD and the Beaumont City Council. How do you see this partnership benefiting the community?
Man, you know, I'm already seeing it. And when you went in, you talked about it. When I ran, I talked about it. And it's been good that we've really stayed true to these quarterly meetings with the school board and the city council. And what's strange is it was sluggish at first. And we were trying to figure out what we were doing. But the last meeting, we brought some things out of it. We had a joint literacy committee meeting.
And wait a minute, on this joint literacy committee meeting, we actually going in the trenches, in the areas of the community where people really need the help.
Yes.
So I want you to kind of emphasize on we
So
going in the trenches.
We're going in the trenches. And I'll give you a perfect example. What's that, Regency over by
the Regency in the north end. And that's considered Ward 3. Some people would say it's the
hood.
It's the hood,
where it's good.
but again, you got a literacy program going directly in that area.
Yes.
One of them schools that impacted the most, right?
And you know, a certain person it's gonna be a certain Santa Claus over there on December 21st with books.
Yep.
You know, so if you notice there's certain Santa Claus with the J's on and the BISD chain swinging,
Yeah.
we giving the books out to the kids, and we want to promote literacy not only to the children but to the parents.
Wow.
We want the parents on a higher level. We want the parents on a higher level of thinking and promoting education in the way that our a couple generations of our folks did. So what we did with education was we got so caught up in survival, which is understandable. We got caught up in survival, making ends meet, and just keeping a roof over your head and food on the table. We didn't do what our parents did. See, our parents understood sacrifice, so they said, because I don't have, you will. So I might work on the truck with my dad every summer, and I used to complain, oh man, it's hot out here, boy, I'm about to fall out. He'd be like, oh boy, you got options.
Yeah.
Because you go to college, you can, write your own, and they pushed education, even if they weren't the most educated. Well, then you fast forward
I agree.
a little
My
bit.
parents were the same way. I agree.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Then you fast forward a little bit, and now you got a group of parents that say, man, I got to go pay the bills. So, boy, you better go to school. Because if you don't, but they're not really pushing it because, man, I've been working, I did a 12 today, and I got to feed all y'all. I get up there and do the homework while I'm cooking. But with us, like I tell people all the time, I suffer, with dyslexia, and at the time, we didn't really understand it, so my cure for dyslexia was upside the head. But you better turn them letters around. So, but now we understand that we have these different, tools in place to address those situations. But we didn't focus on education like, our parents and grandparents did.
Yeah.
So now we have to get parents back focusing on, you have to read, and you have to read to your children.
Yeah.
With the city and the school district, we at the hospital. We want a book nook at the hospital. I need to get with you on something. Y'all don't steal my idea because me and AJ gonna do this. We need to put some book nooks in the Washingterias.
I agree.
I
agree.
Just little books that just to put in your hand and read, simple.
Why? Because you sitting there hanging out. Like you sit while mama, daddy handling the clothes, washing and drying. You kind of hanging. Get off that tablet.
And then if you don't mind me saying,
cell phones.
We just jumped off, you and I and Trustee Segui and Councilman Durio.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's put it all out there. That's what it's here for.
We just jumped off this week into doing some positive life skills type situations where we want to launch a summit. To teach kids those skills that you would think were just there, but we can't assume they are. To teach kids that, guess what, bro? I know you styling, but you got to pull the pants up.
Got to.
Guess what? Your email can't be walk them down, Lil John 409.
Your profile picture on social media, I know you might be from that north end, but you ain't got to throw your set up.
You ain't got to throw your set up.
Because when you go for that job, the first thing that employer gonna do is go through your social media.
Right.
So let's clean up that profile picture. Let's clean up that image. Let's be careful of what we post and how we talking on that social media. Yeah.
Exactly. A lot of our kids are tech savvy, but they don't realize that email is a professional mode of communication. So you learn how to use your email, get a professional email address, keep it simple, those types of things, personal hygiene, punctuality.
We got on financing, helping them understand, finances. Even when you look at your careers, let's study the salaries associated to them careers. And I think right now kids, like we talked about in our joint meeting, don't really have that outlet or that guidance. Counselors can only do so much about what's next after college. Everybody doesn't want to go to the 4 year like we talked about.
And it's not necessary.
Yeah, it's not always necessary. I mean, things are changing. You got, 2-year degrees, you got trades that you can go do, and there's some of the things we want to make sure our kids get exposed, especially with all these plants. And we got one of the largest ports in the United States right here in Beaumont.
Yes.
Yeah.
And only getting bigger. So once again, we should be in those jobs. First.
Yeah, I agree. We shouldn't have other people coming to our community, taking our jobs because we don't have that skill set to get them. We need to make sure our kids are prepared to have those skill sets, and we're going to get there.
Exactly. That's the direction. So once again, for the community, the joint partnerships, I was just thinking to myself, we probably do need to pull the Port of Beaumont into...
I think we do, because I think that's a big asset that we don't capitalize on often in our area.
We got
to. We need to get at least one or two at the table. I think we do need to do that. I think Dr. Willett, Miss Georgine will be good. And we got some good people over there. But I think one of the issues in Beaumont, we do a lot of looking backwards and not focus on looking forward. It's no secret. When you talk about the city of Beaumont, the main things people do is kind of attack our crime rate and our education, our school districts.
Right.
And often you see things brought up with a superintendent from over a decade ago. We're literally still talking about these things. From a decade ago. Like, how do you think we can deal with continue to look forward and not always looking backwards? Because I see you have stood up about, look, this is the direction we're going in. We can't control what happened 12 years ago when you wasn't even on the school board.
Exactly. So I look at some of the things where and I learned it when my girls were in school. I would ask them about certain topics and they were clueless. And then I would start asking their friends, and then I would tell them, ask your friend, give me, this week talk to 5 of your classmates or friends, ask them these several questions about the history of BISD, clueless. And so I'm saying, why are we keeping our children stuck in this mud that we've spent out and created over years? And not even we, because you and I.
No, we didn't create that.
We didn't do it. And so that's why I love you so much, because there's not a community you won't go into to do outreach and communicate with. And so I think that's what we need to continue to do. Continue to be forward thinking and continue to know that we do have to work with everybody. You know, and it's okay to be who you are. It's okay that you're a Democrat and you working with a Republican on these local issues.
What's wrong with it?
Because like my friend Gordon Freed said on the campaign trail, I ain't never seen a Democrat or Republican child. They're just a child and they're hungry to learn and grow. So, you know, I think we just got to continue to just forge ahead, man, and know that you don't have to forget anything, but the longer you hang on to it, it's like an anchor and it's going to keep it drugged down. But if you let it go, you'll see how far you can
And see, that's what I mean by how, you know, even some leaders in our community, they throw that anchor in the water. And you talking about something from 12 years ago, and it's like, man, I'm ready to talk about what we finna do in 15 years. Like, I don't want to stay there, and I think we hurting our younger people behind us.
We are.
By staying back there, man. Yeah, they watching us, man. They watching us. I already asked that question. What are some community-driven solutions you believe are essential for addressing issues in the Beaumont education and public health departments?
You know, a lot of people talk about how it takes a village to raise a child. And we've used that term and that phrase so much that it becomes just like cliche. We got to really grab onto that term and understand that everyone has to get involved, and you cannot use the mind of, oh, I can't do it because it's not this. So I work with juveniles, and we need mentors and volunteers, no doubt. But a lot of people say, well, you know, I don't have time to do it, I can't do it, I don't want to do it. Or some people just aren't comfortable in that environment. Well, guess what? There's other kids too that are great kids, that are really good kids, that are doing really good things, and they need motivation too. So reach out to them, reach out to those parents, see what you can do to help. I look at like my dad, for example. We just got into gardening because I knew he always had gardens. So I was like, man, we're gonna do a garden, and his just knowledge of gardening is just like crazy. Like I'll be Googling stuff, reading stuff. He be like, oh nah, man, you gotta just do X, Y, and Z. He out there doing this thing, and I'm like, second nature. Yeah. So, you know, we need to teach our kids that, and you know, really be willing to step out and you know, try to mentor just people younger than us. And when I say younger, I don't mean children, you know, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 25-year-olds, if you're 40 years old and you've been somewhere. Because I know 25, I think my brain might have been working like it's supposed to be.
Just starting to function a little bit.
But, you know, I still was like making some pretty poor decisions for the most part. Like, not like when by the time I was 30, now I was focused. But, you know, you got kids and stuff. But, you know, teaching people that. And then the next thing is, man, we have to really make it comfortable for people to address their mental health. And we're getting better about it, but our young people, so we look at the pandemic, for example, and I had to look at it like this recently because I was talking to a group of 10th graders. Well, during the pandemic, they was in elementary school. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
And I'm like...
And they lost a few years, bro.
They lost some years. And they'll tell you, I get mad now. And I used to didn't really get mad like that. But during the pandemic, I was cooped up. So it was like we was wild animals when we came out. Yeah. Smoking now. We picked up all these bad habits. We antisocial now because we lost that, you know, love to communicate and interact with other people. So we see the mental health really taking a nosedive, and it's impacting the way our children learn because they're not comfortable in their own skin. And then we didn't make an environment that was friendly to therapy, mentoring, substance abuse, impulse control. We didn't make that like something that was cool because we crazy, man, you crazy. And, you know, you gotta take medicine with
you treat them like a joke when it's a real problem. You know, like little Johnny gotta leave at lunchtime to go take his medicine to calm down, and you making fun of him, but you know, it's really helping him.
So it's like the medicine, like you can't, you gotta let people know, like, if you have high blood pressure, you're gonna take your medicine every day. That's gonna be a no-brainer. So if you have brain health issues, take your medication, you know, and make it comfortable for people to do. But the community has to really lobby for those types of things. The community has to lobby for educational funding. And when I say lobby, not me, not you, lobby your state reps. You know, and keep that conversation in front of people. Like, why aren't y'all funding education? Why do y'all want to bring? Okay, you want to bring the voucher system in, but why aren't you funding public ed? And that's where me and my party get off on the wrong foot.
Okay.
You know, you wanna destroy an institution that you never changed. So since the day public ed started, right? It's been funded the same way. It's been managed and directed the same way, right?
Even if things are evolving and changing,
everything,
you still
bro,
keeping it the same, right?
the same,
there you
man.
go.
And not only that, you saying, man, there was a time we were producing all these lawyers, doctors, and engineers. Yeah, but that was then. How do you expect this tree to bear the same fruit when you ain't fertilized
This
it?
is now.
Yeah, you ain't funded it, you ain't did nothing. So you don't want to fund education out of how you clip, but you want to complain about it.
I'm gonna take it a step further, Joe.
Yeah.
Like the discipline. You literally tied teachers' hands.
Yeah.
You took away how they can discipline students. I recently learned that a student couldn't even be expelled or sent to a classroom to where they can learn if they're being disruptive if they under the second grade. I'm thinking if I'm not saying it correctly, but I know it's a certain age.
Second grade is probably gonna be, third grade is where we can literally like suspend or remove children.
Yeah, that's what I mean, suspend or remove. But the problem is, you mean to tell me if you have a kid turning the classroom upside down in the second, first, or kindergarten or pre-K.
Which we see.
Because we see it.
Yes.
Or pre-K. And we got, mainly at the elementary school, you have nothing but women teachers, right? In our area anyways.
Right.
And some of these kids are big.
Right.
So they're dealing with these type of students and these type of unique situations, and they have to deal with it every day because the way these rules and policies are put in place, people are making these rules that aren't really at that teaching level, dealing with these teachers and these students, but they're making these rules, they never changed it, and things are changing.
Everything.
I agree with you.
And that's just like, once again, I always talk about with juvenile justice. So the state gives us, on the high end, $7,000 per student a year to educate them. It costs juvenile justice maybe $50,000 to send you to a juvenile justice post-adjudication placement. So on the front end, you're gonna give me pennies. And when it don't go right, you gonna give me
The bag.
The bag. We're gonna give you plenty of money to go lock you up and put you in programs and, you know, make punitive measures. But we won't educate you on the front end. So once again, we live in this alternate universe where we need to really change some things, and the community needs to start being vocal with that. And knowing that, you know, why is it the district doing X, Y, and Z? Because the state has mandated that we can't. We had the truancy situation years ago where you can hold a parent accountable. That takes so much time and energy now to make that process happen. Like, it's like a nine-step process.
It's almost a 9-step process just to get that student to court.
Right.
And basically the JPs they have the option, honestly, now that they no longer really have to deal with those truancy cases like a couple of years ago. You had parents in court being held accountable if their student wasn't going to school or doing what they're supposed to be doing. Like, so again, I agree with you. How can we advance education to fix it if we're steadily pulling from it or never making the proper changes that it takes to deal with certain communities? One thing about me, I just couldn't understand why it's no one size fit all.
Nope.
Because every community in the state of Texas is different. So I think, you know, you definitely got to look at situations individually versus, you know, the way they kind of viewing it. Yes.
And then, of course, Beaumont is so much different, man. You know, I lived in Florida, Georgia, California, and I've been here close to 20 years now, and Beaumont is so much different than the rest of the country, man. There's things that work in other places that just don't work here. And I think that speaks to our authentic nature and that we're not the same. So we're not just, you know, a cookie cutter type of model of a city, but that's something that we have to keep on our mind, that we are unique. So we need to take that unique part of our, you know, personality as a community and really step out on that. And once again, I think that gives us a unique opportunity to lead on these issues not only here, but across the state and ultimately across the country. So,
well, I think it's important that we had this kind of dialogue because honestly, some people might not even know what you just broke down about the finances on how it goes in the education system. And it's important to know because I think if more people knew those numbers, you would hear more people actually talk about it. And I respect you for actually voicing how you felt about that.
Changed. It's been the same way for at least a decade.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, and if it's not been, at least since I've been on the school board 4 years, so that was coming, pandemic days, it spiked a little bit because the feds gave us some money to remediate, the ESSER funds to remediate stuff through the pandemic. But
and some of that funding, if you don't use it, how that works? Sometimes it can go away.
And by the way,
let's touch on that. Let's touch on that. Yeah.
Like here you go sit there at Beaumont, he go $18 million, and it's like, what we can do with it? Oh, you can go grow grass over there on the side of the hill. We don't need no grass in there. Can we use it to do for these pipes? No, you can't use it for them pipes.
They give you the funding. Okay, we'll give you this funding because of what basically took place, but you can't give raises for teachers with it.
No.
You can't do this with it. Hey guys, AJ Turner with Don't Give Up on the System. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 500 followers. Can I count on you? Can you subscribe? Can you like? Can you comment? Can you help me? Don't forget, when we get to 500, I got a special giveaway. Don't give up on the system. I'm AJ Turner. I'm out. In your work with Habitat for Humanity, what are the key areas where Beaumont residents need more support?
Well, one of the things that we've noticed with Habitat, especially since the cost of building a home has gone so far up, is that a lot of the homes in Beaumont are older, aging. So we partner with the city, of course, which has been a beautiful partnership because, especially for older residents, roofs.
Yep.
A roof on a home is like a lifesaver to an elderly person.
It rains out here.
And now you got a bad roof, so now the rest of your house is starting to suffer because of mold or rot.
You get sick breathing it.
You get sick. Yep. So the repair program that we partner with the city with has been great, where we leverage those city dollars to try to maximize the amount of work we can get done. An AC unit for an older person is like life changing. And so what we've noticed since the pandemic is that those repairs in those older homes, we did it in Beaumont last year. This year we did it in Port Arthur, where we partnered with Entergy and we weatherized a bunch of homes.
Wow.
And sealed up doorways, and where you had those window unit AC shows you how to properly set them up. Now your
They're
AC
not leaking
bill,
in there, your walls.
And your light bill going down a little bit. We replace windows in a lot of houses because those are the types of things that you lose in energy, and your AC running all day. You're like, man, why my bill's so high? So it's just a number of things that we've noticed with the older homes, not only in Beaumont but across the county, because we habitat in Jefferson County, is that when we can repair those homes, it gives those people hope, and it extends the life of that home. Because a lot of people say, man, this house is in such bad shape, I can't afford to put no roof on here, I'm gonna sell it for little or nothing and go rent an apartment. That ain't right. Yep. That takes them out of their,
you lost your asset.
You lost your asset. You just gave away your big chunk of the American dream that so many people want. So once again, back to Beaumont, I think Habitat, we do a great job, like I said, especially these days, at remediating those homes for those older citizens to try to get them in comfortable situations, and then teaching people how to, be more efficient with the use of the things that they have. And we would like to be, man, we probably haven't built homes since maybe Harvey. And it's just that when the pandemic hit, the cost to build a home just skyrocketed. And then a lot of our homeowners after Harvey left and abandoned their homes. So we had to go in and remediate those homes, fix those homes, and then try to get them back into those homes. But a lot of times when people leave, they leave. And so we try to get that home back on the market. So a family that's eligible, who has been eligible to have a home built, well, guess what? Let's help remediate this home, put them in. But it's just a remediation of the older properties. And then we've recently embarked on a new thing where we're doing financial literacy. We are getting some young people who are making some good money, but man, they're running through that money. They're not saving that money. They're not paying off debt. And so now they want to go buy a house. And guess what? You got a good job, you're gonna get approved.
Credit scoring right, and
But your
another
credit
thing
score
they
is
miss, you get
so bad.
that 3%, that closing costs, yeah.
See, they don't understand that. So we've been teaching that really, really big time that, don't be making big purchases when you want to buy a home. Just wait a minute.
That credit score, you can't go buy a car
Right,
when you're in their approval mode,
Right.
yeah.
So, but like you said, that's the thing about it with the approval. You get approved, but now you don't have the bring to the table the closing costs. And people just don't understand that.
Yeah.
Or they jump into these situations and it's over their head. You didn't budget for a rainy day. You didn't budget for the fact that there's no calling the landlord when
to fix that AC when it go out.
Yeah,
you own that home now, it's on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and it's okay to not get that $500,000 house. It's okay to get that $250,000.
Yes.
That $300,000 house so you can manage your cash flows a lot better. So yeah, I agree. But that's like again that mentorship you were talking about.
Right.
That's what we're lacking with our young people. When we say young people, we're not just talking about people in high school. I agree with you. We're talking about our young adults that are ready to take that first step.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's why we came up with the down payment assistance program in Beaumont,
right.
where first-time home buyers, we try to assist them, and even our senior citizens. You were talking about our older community earlier. We do something with their water bills where we give them a discount. So all our seniors are eligible for a senior citizen discount in the city of Beaumont to kind of offset, because most of them are fixed income,
man.
Take pressure off them, We want to be fair. Yeah. What advice do you give young people in Beaumont who want to positively impact their communities in a positive way?
Consider staying home. When I say stay home, consider Lamar first.
Okay.
Just look at Lamar first, right? And consider staying in the dorms when you look at Lamar. Because what if our kids lived in the dorms at Lamar, spent their money in our city, worked in our city, went to school in our city, right? Came back and taught at our schools. So for a young person, I'm just begging you to stay home. And this is the way I look at it. So I'm from Orlando, Florida. And I could have went to like UCF, of course, but my mom wanted me out of Orlando because of the environment. But I went 4.5 hours away to Tallahassee. But there was a community college there that was fairly new, but up and coming. So I lived in one of those cities where I was blessed that people didn't have to leave home to go to college. But we're very blessed to live in a city where you have LIT, Lamar. Okay, neither one of them fit. You go down the street, live in Port Arthur. You got Lamar, Port Arthur State College. Oh, you go to little Orange. Quality universities and technical institutions that we've done a really good job at reducing tuition. So from a financial standpoint, stay home, save your money, stay home, go to these universities, support them, stay home when you graduate, buy you a home in Beaumont, teach in Beaumont ISD, work for the city of Beaumont, be an engineer at ExxonMobil, and that's how we bring Beaumont to the top.
I agree, because when you look at that aspect, what you just stated, a lot of people often say, well, I can't wait to leave Beaumont. And I challenge young people all the time when they say that, because I say, okay, if all y'all good people leave this community, all of y'all, talented, smart people leave this community, what you think will be left if all y'all decide to leave? So, I say I'm a product of Beaumont. I came through the school district, Beaumont BISD, I came through it. Went off to college, got my degree, but I came back. And now I'm serving in a position to impact change. And like with your kids, they've graduated. Now they're working in this community, doing different things, adding to that tax base, because we only make our money off mainly property taxes and sales taxes. So if we're not generating that revenue, we can't really take care of our community. And Lamar University, if I'm not mistaken, has one of the lowest tuitions in the state. Yeah.
And once again, that's my dream too for Beaumont ISD. So if I can get a third of my seniors going to Lamar and another, few percentage go like every year, Lamar LIT, living on campus.
Yeah.
Man, whew. That's a good look.
Yeah.
And then they graduate. And then they go on to teach even for a couple of years in the district.
Yeah, I mean, but sometimes, it's opportunity for advancement in education. You know, you don't have to stay just teaching.
Right.
You can be a principal.
Right.
You can go from principal to being in administration. You can go from administration to being the superintendent. I mean, it's so many levels.
So many levels.
Yeah.
You can be a professor at a university.
Yeah, you can go to the next step.
You know, and even with athletics,
And teach in the summertime while you still got your school salary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's all those things that you know, even with athletics, you know, like we had these super basketball teams, man, go play at Lamar, man. I know you might
I'm not knocking you because think about it, in that area, this one thing people don't understand. Our basketball teams, whether it be Beaumont United or Westbrook, they rank top 10 in the nation almost every year. Beaumont United's went to state the last 3 years in a row. Like, basketball is super in our community, but you know, to our people that play basketball, to our coaches that volunteer in the summertime, we kind of talked about, you know, some ways we can possibly work with them when it comes to using facilities, because the city of Beaumont, we only have our one rec center.
Right.
We have gyms in the school district, but we need to think of a way to work with these people in the community and instead of in lieu of money, we can think of in lieu of something else to where they can probably practice with those kids, keep them off the streets, as well as give them literacy opportunities, you know, to do something positive. And I think at our joint meetings, we should be able to come up with something soon, man.
No, I think so. I think we will. In fact, I know we will. I'm looking forward to it.
And that's the mentality that I'm excited about. Yeah, I agree with you. We're not going to try. We will. We will.
Definitely.
How do you balance your role across BISD, public health, and nonprofits to work to maximize your impact, as well as the Republican chair? You wear a lot of hats. How do you keep your balance?
Yeah. So I lost my wife back in 2017. And when that happened, man, I just dove so deep into my work that, you know, some aspects of my life
I'm sorry to hear that too, bro. Yeah. We talked about it, but still sorry to hear that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, she's definitely in a better place, and I know we got an angel.
Yeah.
But I dove into my work, and I think some of it was probably coping mechanism just to get lost in your work and do as much as you can so your mind stay busy. So that's the first thing I did I just worked a lot, and you know, I wanted a lot from a standpoint that I wanted a lot for the community, I wanted a lot for my children, I wanted a lot for myself. And it's crazy because most of those things I'm doing came out of disappointment. So, like, you know, when I first got involved with Republican politics, I caught some raw deals. I was treated kind of not so great at times. And then, lo and behold, you fast forward, they asking you, hey man, will you consider, you know, taking over the reins for the entire party? And I'm like, what you mean? Y'all deal with looking at
like,
me?
Example, like you said, and this is just for my first election I ran.
Yeah.
You know, I'm real transparent. I lost by about 128 votes.
Yeah.
And I remember the hurt. You know, I felt like I ran as hard as I could. I did everything I could. And on this show, we always talk about the positive, but I kind of want to talk about some of the adversity you went through, kind of what you just mentioned a little bit. You know, like, you know, how does it feel when you do go for something and you're like, well, everybody say they support me, but when the results come out, them numbers don't show that. And I've been through it too, so I think it's important that we go through those type of downs as well. Can you kind of speak to downs or some things that's been a little disappointing? So
I lost 2 races and I withdrew from one when my wife got sick. But on the first one I lost, I was way inexperienced, and I took some poor advice from someone who was, you know, pretty close to me. And I don't think they intentionally gave me the advice, but they got bad advice and it didn't play out that way. And so it set me on basically a fool's errand, because the seat I was running for county commissioner, I didn't realize how large of the magnitude of that seat was. And you know, so I ran hard as I thought I could, but it was just, you know, probably about a third or 2/3 of the way through that election, I was like, I ain't got enough steam to beat this guy, but I'm gonna run hard because I know my girls.
You already jumped in it.
And my girls was on the campaign trail with me too, so I had to show them how. But I kind of knew I was in.
You felt it, but it's no quit. But you felt it,
So the next time I got ready to run I was gonna run for school board, and this was when the state had just given Beaumont ISD the district back. And so I filed, I got all my stuff set up, and then my wife got sick, so I withdrew from that one. And then
people need to understand that's important because family first, bro.
Family first, man.
Yeah.
And she didn't want me to withdraw.
Yeah.
She was like, nah. I'm like, nah, I can't mentally do this knowing that, you know.
Yeah.
And she would eventually get a lot sicker than we thought, you know. So I withdrew from that race. And then a couple years later, when I got my legs under me, I ran for that port commissioner spot. And it was a lot of people that were like, oh yeah, we're gonna push you hard this time, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't right, you know, and so I didn't pull it off. And so those were some hard, the port commissioner one was hard, because we worked really hard. It just felt right, but had a bunch of endorsements, but it just didn't come through. And I think that's because that's something what the Lord had for me. But I'll tell you something about the school board. So I tried to get on the school board, I would tell people 5 different times. I tried to get appointed to 2 different managers. I tried to run for the one seat that my wife got sick. And then they had a gentleman that resigned, and I tried to get appointed, and that didn't happen. And then the 5th time, I got on. And what's ironic is we sitting there talking, so 5 times, right, it took me to get on the school board. And on the 5th one,
But resilience, though, I think it's important for people to know in these leadership roles, it don't come to everybody easy.
They don't.
I mean, let's be honest. Some people, dad was on this, and their mom might have been on that, and politically it was passed to them.
Right.
But me and you traditionally was a different route. It wasn't passed to you. You went through a lot of adversity to even get there.
But I'm gonna give you the credit on that 5th try, though.
Yeah.
See if you remember this conversation. So, I was done with the Republican Party, with politics.
Me and you talked, because we was like, man, like me and you had a one-on-one. You was like, man, Jay, you know, I believe in this party. They say they was behind me. When it's time to run, and you know, I told you, I think I know what you're talking about. I'm gonna let you finish the story. I ain't gonna tell it. I'm gonna let you tell it. So I remember the conversation.
Yeah, you hit me up. Yeah.
People who look like me, my brothers.
Was you on the city council?
Nah, I had lost 2 that first time.
Okay, you had lost 2.
Remember we lost at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah, we lost at the same time.
Yes. So, and at the time, the school board was steady going through some turmoil, and you was like, you hit me up, you were like, hey man, what's going on? He was like, what you got going on politically? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm done, man. And you was like, nah, you ain't done. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm done. You like, well, what you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm done, man. I'm like, politically, I'm a lone wolf. You know what you told me? He said, I don't like when my people are lone wolves. My people ain't lone wolves. Like, and so that, I was like, okay. So, and you was like, you need to go get on that school board and get that thing right, man. We depending on good people to step up. And I was like, all right, bet. And sure enough, I think I went down there and filed because they were saying that the gentleman that was in the seat wasn't gonna run. No, that's not what happened. So we watching the school board, me and my girls, we watching the school board meeting. And we were thinking about, you know, should I run, girl? Yeah, daddy, you should do it. And my man said, after this meeting, this is my last meeting. And my girl was like, Daddy, you need to go. Man, we went down to the next day and filed.
But see how your babies pay attention to politics because you've been in them trenches. And by you being in them trenches, they paying attention. And hold on, you just said recently out of high school, how many students paying that much attention, not to national, but a local school board?
And they get it too. They be on me about it when they see little stuff. So, so we went down there and filed, and the rest is history. You know, I've been there and I've been loving it, wrapping up my first term. There's been some ups and downs. You learn a lot. You don't know what you don't know until you get there. I always tell people, boy, you better don't pack no lunch, don't do nothing, just get ready to pull up because it's gonna be all you can eat when you when you get there.
And one of my biggest things is I feel like specifically young people, I don't care if what all you line up on, we got to be in this together because what we do impacts the future of our community. That's why when I seen you, I say, man, this is a good brother. I see him volunteering at that juvenile facility. I see him calling me, asking me to support it. I see you with your daughters. We kind of talked about, I'm a girl dad too, combing hair. And when you told me you lost your wife, I'm like, man, this brother just lost his election. Let me reach out and just check on it and make sure he's good because I know God can use him somewhere. I ain't want you to give up, bro. So that's why I feel good about reaching out to you, man.
Because, you know, And then shortly after that, the Republican Party like, man, you know, the chairman gonna resign. You want to step up? And I told them no too.
Yeah.
I told them no for 6 months.
But I understand why, because
Yeah.
what you've been through. I understand why.
And then at the end, I had my same team now. They was like, we'll help you. If you do it, we'll help. I said, y'all say y'all gonna help me, I'll step up, man.
Yeah.
And, we got some good people to run that on that cycle. Gordon, of course, good friend of mine who I knew him before. And just to speak to his character too, like when I got on the school board, we was in the mall, in Parkdale Mall, and he was by himself, I was by myself, and I see him kind of beelining across the mall to come tell me congratulations. And I'm like, all right, I appreciate it. Bro.
Like where'd it come from?
Because nobody else was like, hey, you on school board, you crazy, you must be out of your mind.
But see, I'm glad you're speaking to that, because that speaks to like our community, like, and how people think. Like, oh man, what you want to, like, why would you want to be on the school board?
Right,
because I want to make it better.
Right.
Like,
No,
people ask you that kind of stuff. I've been asked, what you want to be on the city council for?
Yeah. And then they ask you what you doing next, and I'm like, I'm trying to just flourish right where I'm at. I'm trying to, continue to blossom right here, and we'll see. The Lord will tell us what's next. But
and I'm just looking forward to, things that's coming in the future. And I do believe Beaumont, our community, will turn the corner as long as we can keep working together and having tough conversations. Like, it's been times where, even people who are my colleagues on my side get on the internet and get to saying things that they shouldn't be saying. And I'm like, at the end of the day, you attacking somebody in the same battle as us. What good is that going to do for this community that's been attacked long enough? People from outside of Beaumont already attack us enough. So why are we on the internet attacking people working hard? You know how hard this job is.
Man, it's hard.
Why are we doing that?
It's hard, man. And a lot of nights you lay up looking at the ceiling fan like, what more can I
have done better? Like you be feeling drained sometimes, but like I agree, when you see people in the community and they say positive things and they say, man, keep up the work, or I see things changing. Because one thing I did realize, like, even you were able to convince some of the Republican Party and those Republican women to get back involved with the district.
Man,
and it was a big fiasco, from a decade ago that a lot of people still were holding on to. How was you able to, convince some of them to get back on board and get back to supporting the district?
Man, what's crazy is that was one of the things that I really wanted to focus on, because a lot of those women used to be educators in the district. And they just was bitter because of the way things were handled. But I was like, don't give up. You say you're an American, you're a proud American, and you stand on these American principles and values. Give back. That's one of them. Build up your community. That's one of them. Be cognizant of what your fellow man is going through, and reach out and extend a helping hand. And man, they embraced it, man. They've been really good with Roar. They try to raise money for supplies every year. They've been very supportive of me and not following the lead of the negativity. So, a lot of those women, when it's a problem with the school district, they'll call me. And really ask me what's going on and get my take on it. When we did the Vader for the voter approval tax rate election for the pay raises for the teachers, they came to me and they was like, we skeptical about this. I'm like, time out. I'm gonna use the blessing that I had to be on the school board, know the superintendent, get over here to talk to these Republican women. And she did it. And when she did that and she was able to reach out to them and they could say, okay, this is a human being, and he go up on them, things went a whole lot better with that. And you was talking about the balancing act. So one of the blessings about being on the school board and working in juvenile justice is a lot of the kids we work with don't have the proper educational accommodations, which leads to poor behavior, which leads to them not being in school, which leads to them being arrested. If we can get a kid tested and we know that there's some emotional, disabilities or some behavioral issues or some mental issues, or if they can't see because they need glasses.
Probably can't afford the glasses, bro.
Can't afford the glasses. Can't afford to get eye exams. Well, we can fix that. Like with revision, IEA, we can fix that. That's one thing we can do. We raise dollars to help these children out. Children go to jail with no shoes on. So if you came here with no shoes on, what the household looking like? Probably not good. especially when now it's time to leave and nobody still didn't bring in those shoes.
Yeah.
Now I got to intervene to see what's going on in this home to get this kid here. Oh, y'all need a little help. Somebody lost their job. You trying to bridge the gap? Let us help you on that. We can get you and your kids some shoes. We can get you a couple meals too.
Yeah.
You know, we could pool the right resources together to probably get you across the finish line for a little bit to pay your rent, you know. But it's just the collaborative effort that I've been able to make, working with the school district and student services and working with juvenile justice.
Shout out to Sanicia Savet, man. She a gem,
oh
man.
my God, bro. You
Student services, that woman is a gem. She's a blessing from God, man.
You know, McKinley-Vento is what they call it.
Her heart is in it too, yeah.
So when the child is McKinley-Vento, that means they basically listed, that's a homeless student.
Yeah.
Man, I called this lady on a Saturday, bro. And she already working on, it's like, I'm apologize. Oh, no, Mr. Evans, I'm working on what you need.
Monday through Friday, but look what she doing.
Yeah, on Saturday.
That's what I'm saying. Monday through Friday, most people, but look what she doing.
I ain't on my computer right now, but boom, boom. Okay, we got them on the list. We're going to try to get some people over there to see them. We're going to get some food. Like,
I'm going to take it a step further, bro. Student didn't have transportation, you know, less than 1 mile. The district won't, just policy-wise, can't pick up that student. So she called me and was like, AJ, what can we do as far as the city of Beaumont to help out this student get to school? This is a Sunday.
Yeah.
I said, well, let me get with the city manager and see if we can do some free bus passes, you know, for a nice amount of time until we get the bus situation situated. Guess what we end up working out?
What's that?
We got that kid free bus passes. And that kid, not only that kid, we got enough for his mom to go to work too. So these are little things, bro, that people don't know that we do behind the scenes. And that's those small wins that make it all worth the while, man.
That's it, man. That's absolutely right. And, you know, but yes, Mr. Vet does a phenomenal job in student service, but it's being able to have all those resources kind of under the same umbrella. It's just been a huge, huge blessing, man. Of course, BISD runs the school inside the detention center. So once again, when I know what's going on with this kid and they're about to go back to school, those moments are critical from leaving detention and getting back on campus. You can't let a week go past because they might be right back in there. You gotta jump on.
You gotta be on it. Yeah.
Hey, let's get this kid back in school. Let's get him over here tomorrow. He needs some shoes. He need whatever he need. What you need, you need something.
Because even McKinley-Vento, I know, you know, people donation for uniforms. I donated uniforms to the district before, but there's a lot of little things that people don't know. But while we're on this topic, I feel like we're in a place where we can talk about things we do really want to improve in Beaumont. And one thing that I think me and you both can speak to is we have a underlining very racial tone and issues in Beaumont that people cringe because they don't want to talk about it. But I kind of feel like you can't improve anything if you're not willing to at least admit that it's a problem. And what can we do to kind of start, you know, mending those relationships to where people ain't acting like it's not a problem. It is a problem out here, man. It's a problem. It is.
It's a problem, and it's a disappointing problem because it's one of the things I really truly believe that holds us back. You know, I think that it keeps us stuck. Like even when I first moved, I'm like, man, it's like we ain't quite in the 60s. We might be 75, 1980 on some of the stuff we do. It's a little
different out here, bro.
Like, and I'm like, why do we behave like this? It's on both sides.
Yeah.
And
like example, you being a Republican, you can have some people saying, well, he can't be a Republican because he's a minority.
Right.
But I've had, and you, like you said, both sides. But on the other side, well, I can't vote for him because he's black.
Man, let me tell you something people told me, especially being on the school board. So I've had black constituents come tell me, basically, you're Uncle Tom on a socialist experiment, and we don't trust what you do on the school board because we know ultimately you're doing it for the white folks, right? But then I had white people come tell me, I'm gonna move out of the city if the whole school board is black, you know? And you know that kind of made me cringe because I'm like, we only got Tilly.
It's 7 school board members. You only got one white. So
we one school board member away from this person leaving the city. So I'm like, dang, for real?
Yeah, but the sad part, Joe, like we don't talk about it, but we deal with this all the time, man. You can't hire this person because they black, but you can't hire this person because they white.
Yeah.
Why can't we just hire the best person, the most qualified person for the position? Who
Everybody's
cares
life
about?
easier,
Yeah,
man. And like I said, with this white person, they'll tell me I ain't racist. I'm like, you ain't racist, but you put your toes up on the line.
yeah, like I could blow you over the line with that comment.
Seriously, but once again, I'm very blessed because they felt comfortable enough to come tell me.
Yeah, but that's what I mean by that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Like I got a council member, you know, no shame. I'm a Democrat, you know, and my council member is about my age, but he's a Republican, and we have tough conversations, tough ones. I'm like, hey. Yeah, you can't say that. But you don't learn if you're not honest with each other. You know, I don't understand how you can sit at a table and something makes you feel uncomfortable and you're not man or woman enough to professionally express how you felt about that, bro. And it's an emotional topic. It really is, but it's a necessary topic.
Very much so, very necessary.
You know, I literally was told when we were hiring, you know, elite positions in Beaumont from both sides, you have to hire this person because they're white, or you have to hire this person because they're black. And I'm gonna be honest, I adopt the mentality of I wanna hire the person who's best.
Right.
I can care less what color they are. What can they do to impact this community, what skill sets they bring, what experience they bring, and what can they do to make this community better. But as leaders, we gotta continuously push and fight with, can we grow and inspire our community if all the people that we want to grow and inspire aren't ready to grow? But we can't give up on this system.
Right.
We gotta keep pushing because I don't necessarily think it's our age group. Most of the time I have these tough conversations where you gotta say, I ain't racist, it's the older age group.
Yeah. You know, you gotta kind of give them a little grace because I guess they really lived through it and on a deeper level than we did. You know, by the time we got in school, I'm older than you, but still, by the time we got in school, you know, a good percentage of your classmates were gonna be white. You're gonna probably have a couple white guys on your team, you know, on your sports teams, your basketball or football team. So it didn't really come across as being so foreign. But still, man, I think fear breeds a lot of that too. You know, people fear the unknown, and so I think fear breeds a lot of that. But I like what I'm seeing in a lot of young parents too. Like, you know, you got young children, and I'm pretty sure you're not pushing any kind of narrative like that to your children.
Negative, absolutely
and then,
not.
You know, I've seen your little girls, you know, all of them so full of love and joy, like, they probably play with everybody they come in contact with,
man,
you know what I mean? So,
it's funny because my second grade, I was like, you know, they talk about boys and who they got a crush on. Somebody wrote a letter, a little boy, and I'm like, well, what's his name? She said his name, and I was like, well, you got a picture of him? I say, what you think about him? Think he nice looking? Is he nice too? She was like, yeah, a little Asian kid. Like, but it just shows that I'm not teaching my children that because if I was, she wouldn't even be thinking like that.
Or she wouldn't have been comfortable enough to talk to you about it.
Yeah,
you know? So, you know,
exactly.
So that's what we have to remember to be is like, you know, like the kids, like love each other like they love each other. You know, look at things through the set of lenses like they do because they're very much innocent, and sometimes we're not. And you know, we let different things, politics, political parties, race, split us right down the middle, and that's why you get sluggish and you can't get things done because you need other people or other visions and other thought processes. You know, you gotta have, when we talk about diversity, it has to be in race, age, thought process, religion. That's what's gonna make everything, you know, a pretty good gumbo, so to speak. You know what I mean? So you gotta throw.
And we known for good food out here, bro.
You know, you gotta throw it all in there. So you know,
So man, this conversation's been dope. We coming to a close.
Yeah.
Got 2 more questions.
All right.
The theme of this podcast is don't give up on the system. What would you say to people who feel uneasy or discouraged by the system?
I think you hit it on the head, and I love the title, Don't Give Up on the System. So just don't give up on it, and participate in it. And guess what? It's so easy now. You guys broadcast city council meetings, right? Mm-hmm. I broadcast city council meetings. I mean, we broadcast school board meetings. I listen to the city council. I don't know the last time I came to a city council meeting.
But I bet you listen to them, huh?
But I always do. And sometimes it's just like the background that I'm listening to, you know, but like, just take a look sometimes and pay attention to really what's going on and what like you guys have a bold new vision. We're so excited at Beaumont ISD because we've just given our educators something to look forward to, because ain't nothing like a little boost in pay.
But bro, wait a minute, just speak to how many people were a little bit negative at first, not confident. But I think more people were positive than negative. The loud people may have been negative, but there's way more quiet, positive people than those loud, negative people, honestly.
Well, I think so. 55% about roughly is about what we won that by, and so that tells you that there was some naysayers, but. At the same time, you and I both know politics. We'll take 55% in an election all day, right?
Day.
So that's
a 4-3.
So so that gives you at least the hope and understanding that we are at least moving in the right direction. Because I don't think, and I'm not because of me, but just collectively, I don't think 4 years ago that would have passed.
That's too close to that decade we were talking about earlier.
Right. So at least we kind of moving in the right direction, but. Yeah, people don't give up on the process and don't believe what you hear unless you really go seek it for yourself. And I know my email is public, your email is public. Am I gonna get back to you 30 minutes later? Maybe not, but I'm going to get back to you. And we're gonna have a conversation about it, and you will get the right answer. And if I don't have it, I'm gonna give you the guidance to a place where you can go. But the next thing is when you, especially on social media, when you see somebody and all they post is what's wrong. We all know what's wrong. But they never tell you what can be done to fix it. Even if their idea is horrible. Kids can't read. Yeah, the kids can't read. Go take the book around the head. Okay, go do it.
At least you got something.
Coming. But just the constant negativity, that hurts our community. That hurts the political process. That makes the system deteriorate, because now what you do as an elected official is you putting out fires all the time. Just because you got one person who may have a little influence, enough to cause you grief, and those are the kind of people that you got to be skeptical about when there's never any positivity and nothing solution oriented. When you see somebody saying this is what they should do, at least they saying what they should do or what can be done.
And we respect them opinions.
You respect those opinions.
Even if we don't agree, we don't respect it,
So, stay involved, stay active, and we're doing a little bit better on voter turnout, but people need to start voting, and it's just that serious, because it doesn't make any sense that such a small portion of the electorate dictates what happens in the community. So people need to start voting on an informed basis, not just voting just for the heck of it because you heard somebody say something, but really take some time to focus on what's going on. And I think if we do that, we'll be better off. And then what you doing, man? You stepping out on a leap of faith with the podcast, which could be risky business, but I think that when it's done in this manner, with this type of format, I think it's gonna always be successful. So you keep doing what you're doing, definitely, man. You've been a great breath of fresh air for the community, man. I talk to a lot of people on both sides of the political spectrum, racial demographics all over the place, different religions, and I would tell you if someone had a bad word to say about you, just because the way I feel about you. And I wouldn't come to you and say, man, let's talk to you. I say, hey, man, listen, this is what's being said. But I honestly, keep on doing what you're doing, man, and keep on pushing hard and being an innovator with these types of things, and, just keeping what's important up out in front of people. I think that it was a blessing to see you get elected the first time. I think even in your defeat on the first one, I think it was a blessing for everybody to see, somebody come back from defeat, because that's what defines the champion, right? Can I shake this off and come back? So, and ever since then, politics haven't been the same. Would you think about it though, bro?
Yeah, honestly, because what I'm willing to do is what a lot of people aren't willing to do.
Yeah.
I'm willing to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
I'm willing to have tough conversations.
Yeah.
I'm willing to push for things that are different and innovative.
Right.
And I respect the seasoned people who came before me,
Right.
no matter what race. And I think that wasn't the culture before new elected officials started getting in office, like around your age, around my age, around the Naomi's. Then you had Brandon Willis, who just got elected. You're starting to see, younger people from both sides. We able to sit down and have dialogue. I can't see anybody in the past, maybe 20 years from now, 20 years in the past, have the same dialogue we can. And it's been nothing but respect the whole time. And we friends outside of this. So I think that's important that you see the transition that we're making. And if it's happening at that level, I can only imagine what's going to happen in the future.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So this is the dope question to me. When your career is over, what do you hope people remember the most about your time in our office? Joe Evans' legacy.
Yeah.
What do you hope to be remembered by?
I hope people remember me as someone who raised the bar really, really high for education, academic success, and youth involvement. And I just want to be known as that person. So if I could be the godfather of education and youth engagement, and that's what I go down as, I'll be a happy, happy person and smiling out from heaven every day. And I ain't talking about statues or anything like that. I just want, when people open the books and read about why is this, why is Beaumont just on top when it comes to education, they'll be like, man, it started back during these times, and this guy really put on for the city and poured everything he had into it, and because of that, it's a mecca right now for educational and academic success, and that's what I want to be remembered as, that I changed a lot of lives through, compassion, understanding, and ultimately just educating our youth, and that's what it looks like for me.
Much respect, Joe. It's a dope conversation. Man, I enjoyed it. All right, guys, we out. Wow, man. Joe Evans just blessed his seat. A man that wears many hats. Juvenile justice, school board member, Republican chair, Habitat for Humanity, a father of 3 daughters who lost his wife. Don't give up on the system. Tune in until next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow us on all social media outlets at Don't Give Up on the System. Man, I love this interview. AJ Turner, I'm out.